Zero, Zero for short. I am your loyal steward, and I am here to present Lufia 2 Ancient Cave Guide Struggle, one-on-one race between mikemike34 and Elieson. Pleasure to have you all with us. Why don't you all go ahead and introduce yourselves?
I'm Elieson. I run the Ancient Cave a lot. I accidentally got a world record, and now I have a reputation to uphold. I don't like the pressure, but I do what I have to do. So I'm here running a different version of the Ancient Cave. I've run for RPG Valks a lot. I think the past 4 years I've participated, showing off something different each time. So this year we're showing off what I would consider to be the definitive Ancient Cave ROM hack, featuring a few things that you fans of Lufia 2 may recognize, and a couple things that you may not, that we hope to give you all a fun time with. So that's it for me.
All right. Mike?
Hi, I'm mikemike34. I've also been running the cave for several years. It's a lot of fun, and this ROM hack, which was created by Real Critical, is really fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you're all in for a treat.
Hey, speaking of whom, Real Critical.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Real Critical. I'm actually one of two authors of this ROM hack that we're about to see, also a former cave runner, and happy to do commentary here, the other commentator being Eve, who I will hand the mic to.
Hello, I'm Eve, and I'm mostly assisting with this ROM hack guy struggle, and I am also a cave runner.
Okay. So I see we have two incentives on the board, and there are still time to meet those, it looks like. So our first one is complete the world's most difficult trick together. Now that's it. You've really sold us on this. Can you tell us what makes it the world's most difficult trick?
Well, I guess if no one else is going to take it.
Sure.
That is what the game is calling the puzzle. So it is a puzzle from the main game. We will see it in the Ancient Cave today. How that will happen, you will see. We will talk you through it. And we'll also let you know when the cutoff point comes for that. But that is, probably not too far out. So I would expect around a little bit over 30 minutes, no more than that.
Yeah,
and just if you want to chip into that.
And audience, do keep in mind there's a little bit of a delay in processing your donations, so you're not gonna want to wait long. I would say you've got about 20 minutes to get that money in. We are at $70 out of the $150 we need to see that happen. And speaking of incentives, we also have the Totally Innocent Child that is at $45 out of $150, and I'm sure that is completely unremarkable, and there's nothing wrong with this child whatsoever.
Or is there?
And
surely
that one.
The child.
Go ahead.
Surely we will help the child.
Absolutely. So if you want to see that child get helped, you've probably got about 60 minutes. It's going to be on floor 100. So go ahead and do not forget, when you provide a donation, go ahead and specify an incentive, both a target and a poll, to put your donation toward. And I think with that, unless we have anything else to cover, we should be pretty well ready to go. Any other observations before we count in?
I would actually also say thanks to everyone who donated to the Sprites incentive, which you missed because it's already being closed, which has been met, and with a bunch of money. So yeah.
So let me pull that up right now. Let's see who won. By a country mile, it looks like the Halloween Sprite is our winner with $260. The Summer Sprite came in second with $105, and then Christmas with $10 and Standard at $5. So it does look like Halloween is going to be our Sprite for today. Now I'm not sure what a Halloween Sprite is, but we're all gonna find out together here momentarily. So, Mike, Ellie, ready?
All I do is run the Ancient Cave. I'm always ready.
I'm ready.
Sounds good to me. If one of you can count us in from 5.
I guess I can do that. So if you guys are ready, let's go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and good luck and fun.
Ready.
So, I guess I'll just do a really hasty introduction of everything we're gonna see here. You can already see the Halloween sprites, done by Eve, by the way, who's doing the commentary with me. And Eli is talking to the in-game sprite representing Eve. In the room where you can select the characters, you can quickly see that Guy is missing from the arrangement of parties, and all the characters are looking a little spooky here, so don't get scared, it's fine.
So what makes this guy's struggle?
So the character that's missing in the party arrangement in the beginning, so in the cafe you can choose your character to pick, or your party, which you will go into the ancient cave with, and Guy is missing from this arrangement, right? So yeah, normally runners for the optimal party, allegedly, they would pick Guy. In this ROM hack, Guy is not available for the party. We will see whether he will show up. And Mike looks to have some starting issues here. I'm sure that's fine. You get another chance to look at the second sprite. Well, now the leftmost sprite, which is the pink-haired girl, which is Guy's girlfriend, and she's looking for him.
Sadly, Maxim doesn't know where Guy is.
Yeah. He is the main character of an RPG, right? So he's notoriously clueless.
Ellie is already finding a blue chest item. Emerald Queen.
Yeah, so let's maybe do a quick introduction of what we are even seeing here. You are looking at Lufia 2, the Ancient Cave, which is an optional game mode that you, well, unlock by progressing in the game or the story. And this is a roguelike. It's not a randomizer. I will be happy to tell you, after some people said there's been a lot of randomizers today already. This is not quite it. Instead, you're progressing through a bunch of randomly generated floors. And otherwise, you have a turn-based RPG as a basis for the whole thing. So yeah, you're trying to... So you won't know what the floors look like, you won't know what actual enemies will appear, or in what amount, or what items you will get. But you do know that on floor 5, these a certain set of enemies might spawn, if that makes sense, and the same goes for items.
So are they tiered, in a sense?
Yeah, basically, items are added to the pool with a couple of exceptions that isn't really meaningful to go into at this level here. But yeah, basically, the further you progress, the better items you get, and enemies will actually exchange. So weaker enemies are all the way at the start. Later on, you will have more capable enemies.
Okay. I see we have a question in chat. Are these two runners running the same seed, or what differentiates the two runs?
So they're not running the same seed. There is another ROM hack that allows runners to do the same seed, but it's a little bit buggy, I gotta say. This is completely different seeds, completely random. Well, given the rules of the Ancient Cave.
Sure.
So yeah, we will see different rooms, different situations. Yeah. So as I said in the beginning, I try to be quick due to the introduction, but we are looking at the sprites here, done by Eve, who's also on comms. And Eve is also the one, I'm not sure if I was perfectly clear on that, working with me on the ROM hack. She will notoriously not claim a lot of credit for it, but she was tremendously helpful during the creation, so she is listed as a creator for good reason. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, especially not Eve herself.
We're seeing some love in the chat for Eve, so, if you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and read out a couple donations that we've received since the run started.
Go ahead.
Alrighty, so we have 2 donations. The first one is from Possum Coffee, which does not have a comment, but thank you very much for the $10 donation. and they donated it toward the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time randomizer Ice Trap Mayhem. I also see a $50 donation. Thank you very much from an anonymous donor, also with no comment. But we do genuinely appreciate your contribution to take this. And we're happy you're willing to support us.
Yeah, thanks everyone for current and future donations. I'm very excited to see where this race is going to go, because as we said as people said during the introductions, Eli, as he phrased it, accidentally stumbled upon a world record, which is in this game, needless to say. And Mike is also a very good runner for this game, very high up on the leaderboard. What's that, Eve?
Oh no, nothing.
Okay. Eve as well, by the way. So we're quite stacked here in terms of Ancient Cave royalty, I suppose.
So for those of us like myself who might be relatively new to Lufia 2, I see the movement seems to be kind of staggered around. Would I be correct in assuming that the enemies essentially take turns when we move?
Yes, that's precisely correct. So basically, I like to say that the battle system is kind of a two-step thing. So you have this tactical battle system on the map, if you want to view it that way. Because not only do the enemies only move when you move, but you have certain encounter rules. So if you walk into their sides, you will have a 50% chance to get a free turn. If you walk into their backs, you have a 100% chance to get a free turn. So how you move on the map actually affects not only whether you encounter enemies at all, but also it can give you a tremendous advantage and actually allows you to beat the Ancient Cave at a very... you can beat the Ancient Cave at level 1, theoretically. And in tasks, that has been done simply because you can avoid enemies altogether. We also have a ROM hack where you go through the cave in reverse, where you can level up at the strongest enemies, even going into the level 1. Simply because you're able to get free turns, you can do what you want, the enemies will not strike back. In most other games, you would simply get floored by the enemy's agility combined with their attack power.
Right. And I also notice every now and again them standing still and swinging their sword. Is that essentially just to pass a turn and ask the enemies to take a move?
Yeah, precisely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And each enemy they have different types of movement, so you can go around the enemies by manipulating their movement, pretty much.
Yeah. So movement in this game, especially in the Ancient Cave, and especially for speedruns, I will say, in my opinion, is one of the key factors to being a good runner. So it will just allow you to navigate this cave and the speedrun in general a lot better. Oh, there is a Rodley Rod now for you.
Yeah, that is one of the items that we changed from the base game.
Yeah. So do you want to go into what deadlies are, Eve?
Deadlies, there are 3 deadly items. We would call them deadly items. They have 80% chance to inflict instant death to non-undead enemies. One of them being Deadly Rod. However, RC has very graciously removed the Deadly Rod from the game. Or basically he changed the Deadly Rod into the Deadly Rod. He removed the instant death effect from the rod. So the item, even if you equip it, you cannot kill anything with that item anymore. Essentially because that item has 0 attack power on it. However, Fatal Pig and Deadly Sword are still an option for them. Fatal Pig can be equipped by Alti, Selen, and Tia, and Deadly Sword can be used by Maxim. Then they are the deadlies of cursed items, so if you equip them, you cannot remove them from your character unless you have a curse lifter.
Yeah, and before people call me evil after what you just said, the Rodley Rod isn't even cursed, so...
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, so this whole ROM hack has been created for another marathon for another runner who actually, I believed was up for some kind of challenge. I'm very happy that people have received this ROM hack quite well because, yeah, needless to say, a lot of work went into it, even though on the surface it might look like it's basically the same ancient cave that everyone knows, right? But yeah, I'm glad that Mike, and Eli in particular are enjoying this ROM hack enough to show it off in the marathon here.
Seems that Eddie is getting some claws, which are among the most important enemies for us to kill early in the cave.
Yep, a lot of experience to gain from those. So you can see that experience screen is yeah.
Well, while we watch this, this incredible scroll of text, let me go ahead and shout out a couple donations, if that's all right.
Go ahead.
All right, I see a $15 donation from, I'm going to try to get this name right, Altair Amaryllis, I believe, who says, let's see that tandem trick, and donates $15 toward the Ancient Cave World's Most Difficult Trick. And then I have a $5 donation, thank you very much, from Alice Rujasu. Love Ancient Cave, best of luck to both runners. Let's find out about that most difficult trick. And we're definitely making progress. It looks like we are looking at about $90 out of the $150 needed to present that trick. We are definitely getting close to time. So if you want to see that, trick, we got about 35 more floors. So don't wait. Get those donations in, folks. We would really love to show that off.
Yep. Definitely, and special shout-outs to Altair, who has been standing by for commentary in case I fall asleep. And of course, thanks for the donation and all the other donations. Yeah, I mean, I'm also gonna hope we're gonna meet the. Let's not worry about it for now, right? Because
Sure.
There's a puzzle to worry about. But I also hope we're gonna meet the helping the totally innocent child donation incentive, which is the one I guess we talked plenty about the puzzle, right? But we haven't really spoiled what that one is on about. If you want to see that, then
I'm sure there's nothing to worry about. I'm sure that child is totally innocent, and it's just going to be another step on the way to success, right?
Of course. I mean, yeah, I have no reason to believe otherwise at this point.
I think there's no way we will ignore a helpless child.
Yeah.
I mean, wait a minute. Hold on. Didn't you just say you both built this randomizer?
I mean, the years have taken their toll, and my memory is lacking at times.
You're telling me you have no control of this innocent child?
So there's actually
theoretically, this child may not in fact be innocent.
I mean, it's a child. We don't have much control over children. They like to do whatever they want. And children throwing a tantrum.
Like, I have a child. I know there's some modicum of control you could have over this child.
Well, everyone's gonna be happy about the family situations they're gonna find themselves in after they see this situation here. I'm pretty sure.
I think you're pulling a fast one on us. I think this child isn't innocent.
We'll see when we get there.
If anyone wants to know, there's
still time to find out.
Yeah, you can find out by donating to a good cause. So what's better than that?
Absolutely. Go ahead, sorry.
I see in chat someone is asking about why there's garbos on floor 19. So RC has added some new enemies to the cave. Well, not really new enemies, but they are the enemies that they already exist in the base game, but they're not in the cave. So he added them into the cave. So one of them is the big crab, if I'm not mistaken, but the crab shares the same sprite as the garbos. So we will see some more enemies in the cave that we don't see in the base game, but only in
Yep.
this ROM hack.
Yep. And every single enemy from the main game, like every single non-boss enemy, I should say,
Right.
that is found in the main game is now also in the ancient cave.
That also includes the sea enemies.
hmm Yeah, previously we only got the ghost ship, which is a boat. So people have been memeing about how there is a boat 70 floors deep into the ancient cave. Now we got all the other sea creatures as well. You're welcome. Yeah, and that also means Garbos in particular hopefully are not gonna cause more discussion, because there is actually a bit of an oversight from even me, well, probably mostly me.
Both of us, pretty much.
Yeah, so there's an enemy called the anglerfish, which
Oh, no.
calls in very heavy support, and we figured, oh, its attack power is pretty low, let's put it on floor 36. It's fine.
We
And it turns out it's
completely
actually really
overlooked.
deadly.
We completely overlooked the fact that it can summon a very deadly enemy.
hmm Yeah, that enemy ordinarily, I believe, appears on floor 65, so it's 25 floors early. You could see how that might be a problem.
Yeah, it seems a little out of band.
Yeah.
So just wanna jump in real quick. We are on floor 28. It looks like
Yeah.
on Ellie's screen. So we are down to the wire on that world's most difficult trick incentive. We're only $60 away, folks. We can absolutely make it if we get those donations in. $5 train, anyone?
Yeah, so let's maybe, while hopefully that will be started, let me explain what that is. So in the Lufia main game, you will see a puzzle called the world's most difficult trick. It is actually the Klotsky puzzle implemented in the game, if that means anything to anyone. Probably not. Okay, so what Eli has shown off here right now is that there is a difference between blue chests and blue mimics. Actually, very nice. I almost missed that there for a second. Thanks, Eli. So yeah, world's most difficult trick. The puzzle we're going to see on floor 50 is implemented in this ROM hack as a means to distribute players some really good items that they might want to complete the run, because, spoilers, there is a boss at the end of this, and you want to beat that. And yeah, normally you have to hope for a couple of random items to drop. They're really helpful. This ROM hack, you can trade some time to complete the puzzle. And yeah, actually get those items. So if you want to see both these runners race that puzzle, aka they will wait for each other, and they will do a head-to-head race for that puzzle, then yeah, you have just a couple of minutes to do so.
And I know, Twitch chat has always shown they can do some pretty excellent things. So I'm keeping the faith. While we have a moment, I do have a $5 donation, another $5 donation from Possum Coffee, who donates towards saving the innocent child, and with the donation message of "Save the innocent child." So
that's good.
Innocent child is that much closer to being helped and nothing at all going wrong.
Yeah. You don't know until you try. We're not about giving up on people here. So if there is a child in need, there is definitely an RPG main character to step in and try and help.
I mean, it's typical in RPG for us to help NPCs.
Yeah. And for people to get in trouble too, right?
You gotta do the side quests.
Yeah. This is actually... most people played this ROM hack blind. And a lot of new enemies and situations, side quests, as you said, including the floor 50 puzzle, caught everyone by surprise when they first played it, which is pretty good. Yep, Mike indeed got 50-50, so that means I explained earlier. By moving around the map and orienting yourself in a certain way when you walk next to enemies, you can get yourself an advantage. You can also get yourself a disadvantage. In Mike's case, he was gambling. So it wasn't like a misstep, but he took a chance. And yeah, the enemies actually got a free turn on him. So if that happens on the wrong enemy, you're actually looking at a lot of trouble. So yeah, there is a lot of technique in this game, I want to say. Oh, there is the yellow flower, also a new one of the completely new sprites that aren't even seen in the main game.
Yeah, in the main game, this particular enemy, they use a blue flower sprite, if I'm not mistaken. And there's also this buffalo on this floor. They usually don't appear in the main game or in the base game, but he added this buffalo into the cave.
Yeah.
But they're not very deadly as far as I remember. Unlike the ones that appear on floor 6.
I played
Yeah,
Undertale. I know flowers are no joke.
Especially when they are yellow.
Just like children, actually.
You're not selling this very well, this whole innocent child thing.
I mean... We'll see when the time comes.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah. Oh, there is a fatal
pick
now for Eli. Nice. That is one of the key items. You've explained it at least earlier. So now we're actually... I believe we're seeing the first one as... Chad has mentioned already, there is a lot of good spells already. But
yeah, both of them have Zap, and Mike also got Firebird. Both
healing.
Mike and Ellie, yeah, they both have healing and reviving spells, but as far as I have noticed. However,
so a couple more cores here.
I think Mike's level situation is not looking as good as Ellie's. Unless he got a blue ball?
I don't think he did. So Eli actually got a lot of cores here. Excuse me for calling me Eli. We talked about this during setup, and I'm butchering the name a little bit, but Eli said he's fine with both. It's just, after all these years. Yeah, so there's at least one blue core for Mike, so he'll be fine.
Okay,
so
the
what
core
we're really looking... Sorry?
The cores heard our call.
Yeah. What we're really looking for is the green cores on floor 41 to 43. Those are, well, red cores and green cores in particular, are probably the most important EXP donators in the run. Yeah, so when speedrunning this game, I assume much like most other RPGs where you actually get to pick your fights, this is a game about avoiding very specific enemies, intentionally encountering others, and technically if you only beat a bunch of cores, you can get yourself to an experience level that's enough to not fight any other enemy in the game. So, yeah.
So, if I'm understanding this right, the only enemy we actually have to fight is, you said there's a final boss at the end of this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one, of course, to beat the game, you have to beat the boss. That would be fair. I meant for experience, but yeah.
Can't just sneak out the back?
Yeah, I forget. Oh, and actually both players have a curse lifter now. That's also a good thing. So, yeah, I think this looks like a very good start for both runners here.
Okay.
So there is always this thing with roguelikes in general, right? So if you... it's not a randomizer, as in... you're not dealing with like completely random situations, but then there's always a chance that everything you'll find will be potions, right? So then there is nothing you can do either. And there is always this thing with cave runs, with Ancient Cave runs in particular, or let's say for roguelikes in general, there is a certain percentage of what are the chances of finishing any individual given run. And for Ancient Cave, it's rather high, but it's still not guaranteed. And in marathons, it's always like, is it gonna happen? You know. For this ROM hack, the chances in general are higher to finish it because of the floor 50 puzzle and the items it gives you. But also with the current situation that we're looking at, with what the players have, this is looking like nothing we have to worry about. And of course, they can hear me, and they're probably going like, if I'm wrong with my assessment, they're probably going like, man, RC. don't fire people up just yet.
I'm optimistic. We'll keep the faith.
On Mike's screen, we can see a Garbos in there. Let's see if he will engage the Garbos or not.
Yeah, maybe he's gonna be like, oh yeah, I can show this off to people.
Eddie is also probably. We'll see. Oh, he doesn't want to engage the Garbos.
That's smart. So Garbos would be those blue crab enemies here.
Never mind, I think he is engaging the Garbos.
Oh yeah, now we... Yep.
I guess he just wants to show
Garbos.
off
Nice.
the anglerfish.
Oh, okay, so I thought he was scouting whether there was an anglerfish there. Very nice assassin movement there too. So what you could just see in the flash was that he dodged a couple of assassins, which are enemies that move at twice the speed that you do. So they will eventually catch up with you, but he managed to land on the stairs before that happened. So very nice move.
At least now on floor 41, hoping to see green claws.
And Mike did actually encounter a couple of Garbos and used Firebird. Of course, this game has the same deal of using elemental efficiency against enemies. So he used Firebird, which is a fire elemental spell against a seed type, quote unquote, enemy. Yeah, which is very efficient.
All right. I see we're on floor 42. We are getting very, very close to the cutoff for the world's hardest trick. So if we want to see the world's most difficult trick together, we've got $60 to cover and not much time to do it. So this is the time to get those donations in. Just as a reminder, we are supporting Take This, which is a mental health nonprofit whose main mission is to inform the gaming community about mental health issues, providing education on different disorders and prevention techniques, and reduce the overall stigma around mental illness. If you'd like more information on Take This, visit takethis.org.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a good cause to me, so it's now or never. Let's hope this can happen. And there's a deadly sword for Mike.
There is a deadly sword for Mike, but we don't know if it's the deadly sword that can cause instant death, or if it's the deadly sword that is a fake sword, as called by most members of the cave community.
Yeah. Actually,
is there a way
that
to
is
tell the
something.
difference?
Yeah, you can go in the menu and look at the description text, or you can just equip it and gamble. But yeah, you can find out before you equip the cursed item. In a couple of ways, the quickest one is checking the description. Yeah,
Elieson is already on the ninja floors.
Oh yeah, definitely. So he does see the stairs. This would be a situation where you get cornered by enemies. I said before you would only have to fight course for experience, but of course some enemies will get in your way like these. And yeah, he is only at level 16. Fatal Pick helps him defeat the first ninja here.
It's also good that he got the first.
Turn comes up.
He got the suppress attack on the ninja, which is very good.
Yep, 50% chance for that, but he set himself up in a way that... Oh, and I'm seeing anglerfish on Mike's screen. he set himself up in a way that he would get that 50-50. Whereas it's very common for especially new players of the game to just have this instinct of running away from enemies, and then of course, as I explained earlier, those enemies will run into you, they follow you, they run faster than you, and when the encounter happens, they look into your backside, right? And that actually means they will get a completely free turn. And in case for these ninja, they're really strong enemies. You do not want to mess with that. Meanwhile, Mike is trying to show off that Anglerfish got nothing on him. He is actually in a situation here. And you got the Cancer Rock, which is a really good drop. That is what you want from these enemies. That's why you fought them, I would reckon. As we said previously, the enemies are calling, so the anglerfish are calling in other enemies that are dangerous, but if you paid attention, unfortunately I have to talk about it a bit past tense here, because it's already gone from the screen, but just, try and use your memory and imagination. The screen was already pretty much filled by enemies, which means that those enemies actually couldn't call in reinforcements, so it was perfectly safe to fight these enemies there, given the circumstances. Just to hint a bit on some of the technicalities there in this game.
So there's like a limited space for the number of enemies that can fit in an encounter.
Yeah. There's different enemy sizes and then a number of slots per battle screen, so you could say. Yep.
You have just 4 floors to go before the most difficult trick.
Yeah, and this is probably where, if you see Mike just stop playing for a couple of minutes, that is him donating the $60, because he is a couple of floors behind here. Also had to do the restart at the beginning, and then of course there is RNG, so maybe he was banking on that goal being filled. So if you're Team Mike, that might be yet another incentive to last minute donate to the world's most difficult trick. However, if all you were waiting for is the cutoff for that, in order to donate towards the totally innocent child, you'll be happy to hear that it's just a couple of floors until that becomes the only option for this run.
Well, personally, I would rather see both of those incentives met, and
yeah,
we can do this. I believe in you, chat.
Yeah, so for even me, it already is Halloween because it's a time zone. I believe that for if I'm not mistaken, for Eli, it will be that date during this run still. So, oh no. And
a nasty treasure room for...
Yeah, very appropriately, we're seeing a very spooky room on Eli's side. So actually that might mean there is a bit more time until the cutoff for 50.
Unless Mike also gets a lot of assassins in his way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and wish bad luck on anyone, but there's something to be said for having a little bit more marathon, having a little bit more opportunity to watch some awesome gameplay and send a few donations to a worthy cause.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and I mean, those ninja would agree with you. they're there to stay. I'm imagining Eli wouldn't be there if I think he's double checking whether there's a different way. Oh, there might be.
There is a different way, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a different entrance here. So what he's effectively done. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. He's probably gonna say the same thing.
I think the way he moved those ninjas into the other doorway, he was able to get only one ninja to that door. I think he can reduce this encounter to only one ninja instead of 3 ninjas.
Mm-hmm. Yep, hopefully anyway. I think also that's
no,
what I was trying to do.
And I think he is trying to get the other ninja to
face
move
sideways.
in a way, face sideways.
Mm-hmm.
So, are these do the enemies still move around or maintain their position as we hit room transitions?
They will. So he's accessing the same room from two different directions, which means that the room will. Or some enemies are active when you're outside of the room. These are not those enemies, though. These are only active when you're in the same room. So he's going into the outer door to actually make those enemies move in a certain way. In this case, it didn't work though. So yeah, he couldn't arrange the enemies here in a way that this does not look good.
Looking dicey.
Yep.
So with
let's see if the Arc Force carries. It actually does carry. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, that was really good luck here.
40% chance to kill each of the ninjas, each undead. I mean.
So what happens if we do fall short? If we wipe, what happens?
I guess we improvise.
Is there no saving?
There
I'm
is
not
no
sure whether
save in the cave.
Yeah, maybe they prepared some practicing save states for the puzzle, in which case they could load those and go from there. They would have completely different equips, of course, because, this being a roguelike, but maybe we would still see a run. But yeah, normally, should they wipe, that would be the end of the run, unfortunately.
I take back my earlier statement. I wish these two runners absolutely nothing but the best of luck.
Yeah. Precisely. And Eli has to deal with a couple of treasure rooms here, back to back.
But he's getting a lot of these wind blizzards. Maybe he will get one of those twist roll.
Oh, I was also gonna mention, it's also like 10 minutes ago or something, but Mike did some really cool samurai movement manipulation there. I didn't miss it, Mike, just,
I did see that, but there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yep.
And he finally got the Rodley Rod.
Mm-hmm.
Just when I think I have my head wrapped around this game, there's always something new to it.
It is a bit of a rabbit hole for sure, yeah. I mean, especially if you get into speedrunning it and trying to learn all the details relevant for it, or in case of, even for me, a couple of other people who are really trying to dissect it and figure out every nook and cranny. Yeah, there is a lot to it. The good news, though, is if you're trying to start the speedrun, it's actually pretty easy because, as you see, a lot of the speedrun actually consists of skipping enemies, just rushing through floors. However, for a beginner, that means just kill a couple extra enemies, take a bit of extra time. There is no skill ceiling to actually finish runs. You can take as long as you want and then improve from there. So, yeah, there is also a bunch of resources. You can find the community, and we will help you out if you're trying to start the game. And of course, if you want to play this ROM hack, you can also do that either through. I don't want to do advertising here because that's on my webpage, but you can find at the usual ROM hacking sources and in the community as well. So yeah, what runners usually will do during the cave is at the beginning you're trying to get a bit of stability, and now you're hoping for an easy healing spell to be able to survive encounters. If you do have to take any unplanned ones, you're trying to get some spells to be able to kill cores, which, as I previously elaborated, will give you a bunch of experience. And then as soon as you got that done, you're trying to look for equipment that allows you to kill the final boss. And we can spoil that. Well, I don't know. What should we say, Eve, about the final boss? I'm gonna leave this to you.
Let's just say the final boss has a surprise for us.
Yep. So that works. Yeah, so in the regular game, let me say that then, you are looking at a Master Jelly, which is just an overblown sprite of red jelly. And unlike all these other enemies, well, he also has a number of HP that you're trying to deplete, but he will not attack you, and instead he will give you a sort of time limit of 3 turns.
Oh.
So after doing all this roguelike stuff here, you have 3 turns to deplete his entire HP pool of 9,980 HP. If you're watching these damage numbers, you can imagine that it's not easy dealing that amount of damage. And
Yeah, that seems. I mean, obviously it's doable, but I'm seeing pings of like 100 and change, and
yep. So there is a mechanic in the game that's called IP skills, and you will notice if you watch the battle screen closely, there's actually 3 bars for character stats. There's HP, MP, and then there is also IP, which is the orange bar all the way at the bottom. It fills up when you take damage from enemies, which is, a mechanic you might know from our games.
Mm-hmm.
So what's different about this one is that each equipment you have will actually have an IP skill. Well, not all of them, but most of them will have an IP skill embedded into it, so to speak. So depending on which equipment you find, you can use certain special skills in exchange for that IP. So what we're trying to do with the jellies, you're trying to collect, because with regular attacks, you're not going to get it, right? As you said, you're doing like ticks of about 100, maybe 200 if you're good. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. So you're looking for special pieces of equipment, and not just high attack power or anything like that. The strongest item in the game is actually one with a reasonably low attack power. But it does chop the enemy's HP in half. So basically you're dealing around 5,000 damage in one swing. And yeah, that's basically
Bring that enough time to mop them up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and on Eli's side, I don't know if the screen is quite there, the stream is quite there, but he just found a real blade.
You want to talk about the real blade?
So, yeah, I mean, we already talked about how Eve has a bit of a character dedicated to her in the game, right? So I figured, okay, I kind of want to put a weapon in there that strangely has the name Real Blade and the IP called Critical Hit. You can, do your own math on that.
And Ellie is on floor 50. There is Guy.
All right. Well, here's the next question. Are we gonna stick around, or is it time to cut that one off? Let me do a final refresh on my board and see if we've made it.
I mean, I know Eli's and Boyson here. Feel free to share your opinion on it.
We're still on that $90 mark.
And
so
Mike makes on floor 48, but yeah.
So Ellie, do you wanna try to stall, or this is a race, so if
it's on you. Of course, if you just stall for 2 floors, you're gonna give people the race more or less by accident, even though they didn't pay for it. So,
that is a good point. So maybe we better go ahead and call it here. In that case, let's go ahead and cut that one off. So sadly, it looks like we only made it to $90. But we are still going to see this puzzle. Unfortunately, it's just... Oh. Mike just made it. Okay, so I guess we're going to have that race after all.
Mike is using any opportunity.
Oh, yeah. Brutal.
Mike is already ahead.
That's cruel. Okay, well, we see how what kind of race this is. But the one thing we definitely are not gonna try to play some games with is the innocent child, who we are just we are just, let me find that incentive here, $100 away from helping that totally innocent child. We're 50 floors away, and you can see how quickly that'll sneak up on us. So please get those donations in. We want to help that innocent child. And if we don't want to help that innocent child, I think we want to help that innocent child anyway and see what kind of misfortune that they'll bring on us. I'm sure none at all. It will be perfectly safe and nothing will go wrong at all. And if I can provide a little bit more of an incentive, maybe I'll take a moment to talk about the prizes that are available. So we have a set of daily prizes that are available for every day during Speedrun Ragnarok 2023. Each day you donate, you'll be entered to win that day's prizes. And if you donate any time during the marathon, you'll have an opportunity to win the grand prize. Today's prizes include a limited edition castle pin provided by Take This, a penny arcade pin trading pin. Margaret Ann kindly provides a key to Doom, the original 1993 version, which if you haven't played it and you're into first-person shooters, I think that game even holds up today. I would highly recommend it. The RPG Valkyries tie-dye vinyl decal provided graciously by Waffle Crone, who also provides a Hollow Knight vinyl decal. And a donation will get you in the running to win any of those. And then a donation of at any point during the marathon will give you the opportunity to win one of the two grand prizes: the Trans Rights Custom Game Boy Advance, and the provided by Casual Geek Dave, and then the Gears of War board game donated by Take This. These are really, really excellent prizes, and there's so much I could tell you about them, but if you want to take an opportunity to look at that link that was just helpfully posted in chat and take a look at what prizes are available today, tomorrow, and throughout the rest of the marathon, please do so and get your donations in if you'd like to be entered to win any of those. Thank you to all the wonderful folks who donated prizes, of course, to Take This themselves, and thank you to everybody who's been donating. Let's keep everything coming.
Right, so both of them finished the puzzle, and as you can see, we got 4 very good items. One of them not being found in the cave due to some coding bug or something. I'm not really sure about that one. So we have the Decker Blade, which is the weapon that RC was talking about that could deal half deplete the HP of the enemy by half with its IP. And we also have the Zuko Shield. It's not found in the cave in the base game. It has a very good IP which can increase the attack power of all your characters by 40%. It's essentially an AoE battle last. And we also got the Samojo. It can be found in the cave, but only from the samurai enemy, if I'm not mistaken. It is a 2% drop, so it's a very rare drop. I think it's 2% or 0.5. I don't really remember.
0.2% or 0? Yeah, like it's very rare in any case.
Very rare drop, and it's a very good rock in general. And the last one from the chest is a curse lifter. That one we decided to add it in case someone accidentally equipped a cursed weapon on Decker, so they can use the Decker Blade, or maybe they just need the curse lifter to uncurse a fatal pick or dirty sword or anything.
Yeah, and the other reason was to kind of balance the fact that there is no deadly rod in the game. So if you would have to equip a fatal pick or a deadly sword, then you would get your free curse lifter, well, free if you finish the puzzle, to kind of remedy the fact. Yeah. And then we also changed the music, as has been mentioned here. The game normally has, well, a less pleasant jingle to play during that puzzle, I believe.
So Mike had to equip his deadly sword, which happened to be the real deadly sword, which is good.
Yep.
At least good for him.
Both players now have 2 curse lifters, so there is a bit of a thing. There is 2 items named Deadly Sword, right? Or you kind of touched on that earlier, Eve. and people call it the good and the bad deadly sword. I personally think there's a regular and a bad deadly sword, so there's not really a good one until you have an abundance of curse lifters, which is the case here. Because then you can freely equip any item you want, and you don't have to worry about it because you can uncurse everything and redo your equipment before the jelly. That's the concern, right? If you, which is the final boss, if you have cursed items equipped, you cannot freely equip whatever you choose, even if you have it in your inventory. Yep, so there's Hedoras now on Ellie's side of the screen. They do drop an item that... So Mike earlier picked up the Cancer Rock, which allows him to do a couple of extra attacks during his turns. Eli did not pick that up, so he is now looking for an Hedora Rock that basically does the same.
And as you can see, he spent quite some time to get the Hedora to move, to position itself in a manner which would let him to get a surprise attack on the Hedora.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there are some enemies that move very slowly. In this case with the Hedora, it only moves once for every 3 steps you take, which means you can 100% guaranteed get a surprise attack on that enemy, as long as you're willing to invest time in it. But yeah, that's definitely an enemy where that is time well spent, because they hit hard. Normally, if you would play the cave as a casual runner, or maybe as an intermediate casual player, you would be at least around level 40 here, I would say. Whereas we're looking at level 23. There is a couple of concerns with low levels. The most important for speedrunning, where we don't really expect a lot of unintentional encounters, is agility, which means we can act before enemies act and hopefully take a lot of them out before they get to deal damage to us. The other one would be HP, which you just cannot compensate for, right? If an enemy does like 200 damage and you only have 190 HP, you're not going to live no matter what happens. So yeah, that's the 2 concerns we have with entering higher floors with lower than expected levels. So, yep, you have to be a little careful around enemies like Hedoras, which hit like a truck.
This is where items such as my apologies for the loud noise in the back. This is where items such as the twist roll and agility boosters in general comes very handy, because that would let characters such as Ulti or even Maximus Deadly go before some enemies and kill the enemies with the instant death weapon. So
Yep.
you will take less hit and whatnot from enemies in general.
Yep.
So, coming from being someone who's kind of dabbled in a lot of different games, I know the randomization method on a lot of these, like the damage calculations, can be pretty varied. So I think of, for example, in Pokemon, where if you're faster than your opponent, with rare exception, you are going first. Period. How much variance do you see in the agility calculations and the damage rolls?
So there is a little bit of a variance to the agility of enemies, first of all. It's very slight though, so it's a very complicated formula that I couldn't possibly go into it here. But the community has those informations if you really want to dive deep into it. For the most part, you can kind of sort of know whether you will outspeed an enemy, because it'll be something like you have 130 agility, the enemy has 160, right? So you're not going to be faster, period. For damage, we're looking at a variance of about, is it 25%? I believe it is 25%. Yeah, so plus minus 12.5% from the calculated value. Yeah, I believe that's accurate.
So you can be approximately sure where you stand, but there's always that chance.
Yeah. So, I know Eva will correct me on any of this if I'm talking nonsense, because she probably knows better than me. But like especially during higher damage rolls, right? We said before the Deca Blade will deal around 5,000 damage. That is also subject to variance. So you will deal, say the Jelly has full HP, and let's assume we're looking at 10,000 HP for the sake of easy calculations. You will do any kind of damage from 5,000 to 6,250, and that is a bunch of variance, right? So yeah, if you end up on the lower end of that, you'll not be happy. Right, Eve?
I will speak from experience now, because yes.
Yeah. What we're seeing on Eli's side here, he was also doing a bit of capsule feeding before the puzzle, while he was waiting for his opponent that was not waiting for him. Yeah, he fed his capsule monster, which is this strange fifth character you can see all the way on the right, only in the battle screen. Yep, Eli chose Sully for good reason. It's one of 7 available capsules, and they're basically just helpers. If you're thinking of Pokemon when you're hearing capsule monsters, you're not entirely wrong. It's a very similar concept.
Yeah, you cannot control the capsules. They do the actions on their own.
Oh yeah, fair. Yep, good point. And they do not evolve by gaining levels, but by you shoving any kind of equipment you don't need into them. So they can eat it. And they like weapons. I don't know.
I mean, they also like armors and items, but they just eat anything.
They like weapons more. Yeah.
I mean, that's just science. You feed a radish a sword, and it'll grow.
Yeah. In this particular case, if you feed the radish, it will grow into a mini knight. So, yep.
That's fair.
And then even weirder things. We'll see if we get there.
But at least the little knight that the radish evolved into has a pretty good move, which we could see that the radish can instantly kill an enemy. It has a, what is it called, the Perish Punch?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you have a very good experience with Perish Punch at some point.
Oh yeah. So, with every regular enemy, you're hoping for that Perish Punch to instantly kill that, right? And the chance is very low, so that doesn't really happen. Then later on, I'll explain the concept of IP, so you gain IP when enemies damage you. Later in the run, assuming it doesn't naturally happen, runners will probably stick around and tank a bit of damage in order to fill up their IP, which is a mechanic that you do in the speedrun. And yeah, that's when you don't want Sully to instantly kill the enemy. And that would be terrible if that happened, say, 6 times to you during a marathon run. I do not wish that upon these people.
I'm sure that's never happened before.
Unfortunately, it has. I still wake up at night.
He speaks from experience.
Oh, surely no. Oh, that's tragic.
You could just switch away from the capsule, and any thoughtful runner would do that. But I figured at that point, you can just see what happens.
I mean, yeah,
that'd be hilarious. And
there's a certain point where illegal math just decides, you know what? Nah, this isn't your day.
Yep.
So on Mike's screen, we saw he engaged the Sly Fox enemy a few times. Sly Fox is one of those enemies that you really don't want to engage because they are very fast. They hit very hard, and they can cause one of the strongest spells in the game.
Yep. There is I wouldn't even know what spell that is, to be honest, because I haven't played the cave in a while. I think it's Thunder, right?
It is Thunder.
Okay, yeah. I know a few things really well about this game and a few things totally not, and that is because some of these enemies you encounter so rarely that yeah, you pretty much don't even know what they do, which is a good thing in this case. But yeah, some enemies are really easy to avoid. That's different. That's basically a result of what Eve explained earlier. That every enemy has its own moveset, and yeah. That means some of these enemies are easy to avoid, and others will get in your way, like those sly foxes. There's just nothing you can do sometimes rather than tank the damage. And there is a no core for mikemike. Very nice.
I guess all those sly foxes encounters were worth it to get the core to stay. And I'm just joking about it.
The RNG manipulation, you mean?
Indeed. Also, if you noticed in mikemike's screen earlier, you could see a rather unusual enemy that came with a green dragon, a mermaid kind of like creature that is one of the sea enemies you can find in the base game, which also had added into this game, into the ROM hack. You will see plenty those enemies later on if these runners choose to encounter those enemies or have to encounter those enemies.
Yeah, I think they will.
Maybe have plenty of floors to go.
Yeah. It's always kind of weird to see those enemies still. I'm still not used to it, you know. There will be that blonde merman kind of creature, and I'm like, what? All right. Every single time. Chat just mentioned it. Level parity has been achieved. Both runners are now at level 27, so at a very comfortable level. And any percent speedruns, we're looking at like level 30 to be at a comfortable level. Okay, sorry for
Oh no, by all means, you're the one who knows what you're talking about here. I was just going to ask, how long has this been out? How long has this been available for for the public to try out?
This has been published. Well, it's been first seen in our marathon at the end of April, and it's been publicly available since May 1st this year.
Okay. The reason I ask is, like you said, the sea enemies aren't normally here, but I was wondering, have they been here since the game had first come out, or is this something that was relatively newly added?
Mm-hmm. The enemies are in the in the base game, in the main game.
Right.
But we added them to the ancient cave, basically.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, like in terms of the version, have there been multiple versions or other releases of this particular hack itself? Or
I see what you're saying. Technically there has been a bug fix on day one. But other than that, no. It's been very minor changes that I had to fix in order to make the ROM playable. But yep, this is basically only one version.
I mean, those of you in chat or on the call who've worked on software games in any respect, the amount of effort that it takes to put together something like this, you will always find bug fixes and issues. And so, like, I do absolutely have to really shout you out, Real Critical and Eve. You've both done a really excellent job. This is a fascinating run to watch.
Well, thanks for saying so. Yeah, I'm happy if it makes people happy. It's obviously a community effort trying to keep everyone playing this game, and I hope we'll get more players, whether it's the ROM hack or just the ancient cave. And we have seen a couple of sea creatures here in the meantime. There is the Kraken enemy, along with its very imposing overworld sprite, if you want. That is also not normally seen in the cave, as well as that gigantic white whale sprite that you saw a little bit ago on the live screen for a second.
Yeah. I just got a flash of the boat. It's totally normal thing to see in a dungeon.
Exactly. It's very nice. It's been a cause for memes for quite some time. And the best part about it is that sprite never moves. So, it's not like they weren't aware of it, that the boat wouldn't fit. They were like, okay, the boat can't move, right? So we just have it stand in the same place.
Oh, so it's not
Yeah,
like
we have the
blocking a
Hedora.
canal or something.
And we have the Hedora rock for Mike.
Mike. Yeah. So now he has the Cancer Rock and the Hidor Rock, which means so you usually want one of those items to be able to combine a really strong weapon and have it do multiple attacks. You can do that with this item, kind of sorta. I'm
Right.
not sure if Eli got his Hidor Rock when he tried it. I don't believe I saw it.
We're on floor
I
7.
did not see, but I don't think he got it. Oh, he did have one. Yeah, he's showing it to us.
And just as a reminder, folks, we are raising money for Take This, and with just another $100 in donations at last check, we will help a totally innocent child in just 29 floors.
Yeah. So I will say we kind of by accident almost saw a fair race of the floor 50 puzzle. That was by runner's choice, so they would have done the puzzle in any case for the items, and it was by sheer coincidence that they were there at the same time, more or less. So keep in mind the runners know more than we do, and they might not have the idea that that is an innocent child and might not actually want to encounter it. So, encounter as figure of speech. So,
Just introduce a little bit of minor potential misfortune into the run.
it might. So if you're hoping to see that one by accident, there is a very slight chance that the runners would be forced into actually completing that side quest. But it's really a minor chance. So I'm gonna say if you want to see that part of the ROM hack, then probably would have to take this on this one, which is a good thing while they're at it.
Absolutely.
Oh, and there's an extra decablade for Mike.
In case he accidentally feeds the first one to the capsule, the hungry rabbit.
Yeah. Or intentionally at this point, because now you have a spare. So, yeah, as I said, completing the puzzle is runner's choice because the incentive has not been met. Technically, if one of them had gotten a decablade before this one, because that's the one item you really want out of the puzzle and out of the cave in general, named after the character Decker it is in our party, if you've been one. Then they could have skipped the puzzle and gained about 2 minutes on their respective opponent. But that did not happen. Oh yeah, a different thing I wanted to mention earlier in terms of parties. We're actually seeing Decker and Artie for both parties, as well as Maxim, who you are forced to take because he's the main character. You cannot switch him out. But then we see the character Selen on Mike's side versus Tia on Eli's side. Two different character choices here. They both can equip more or less the same items. Selen can equip a couple more. Selen's overall a lot better in terms of stats. However, Tia is a bit faster, or quite a lot faster actually. So,
And we've seen that can make the difference.
Yeah. The agility is a very important stat, as I previously said, which I would say for most runners, probably the choice to pick. However, in a marathon, Selen has seen a lot more play.
Is it is it sort of a safety thing, or what would be the upside then?
Well, hard to say. What do you think, Eve? You probably would know better.
I would say between Selen and Tia, there's not much safety that they can give other than one can equip more items and the other can be more useful with the deadly, because we we already have Artie, who is pretty much the fastest character. So he overshadows Tia in terms of agility. And he can also overshadow Selen in terms of stats later on. So I would say between Selen and Tia would be more of a personal preference at this point.
Yeah, except of course in any percent runs where you're really trying to go for records where sound agility is probably not gonna work in your favor. But that's when you're really trying to squish out every single second, right?
Yes. However, if we are talking about any percent in the base game and not in this one, obviously one would take Guy than one of the girls or Lexus event.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lexus, he's not seeing any love by any of these runners.
I wonder why.
Hey, we have the real blade, okay?
That's fair. Oh yeah, that's true. In this ROM hack, Lex is actually a bit more viable because, yeah, totally unintentionally, we made Lexus better by adding the real blade, which Lexus happens to be able to equip, which we totally missed making the ROM hack. Actually makes him a good character if you find the real blade. Yep. So Eli in the meantime picked up a Gorgon Rock, which is now fractional. Fractional is what we call the IP attacks that deal a certain amount of percentage in damage. Just like the Deca Blade deals 50%, the Gorgon Rock will deal, what is it? 1/8,
12.5.
so 12.5, yep. And yeah, I think both of these runners have very good setups. I'm not sure if Eli has a finisher yet, aka after all these fractionals, you want to have a couple of weapons that deal a lot of damage to finish the boss off.
But there is a rune rapier for him.
Would you call the finisher? I don't even know if he... Oh, he does have an Hidorak. Yeah, thanks for showing us off, Eli.
Rune rapier is very strong. Oh, that's also what the spear. That's Artie's strongest weapon, basically. And Tia also has one of her strongest weapons available in case she needs to be one of the finisher users. But I will say that Tia is a rather poor character to be a finisher user due to her very low attack power.
Yeah. I'm also seeing a super sword on Eli's side, the red saber. So yeah, okay, I'm not worried anymore. And of course, I agree with your assessment of Rune Rapier and Water Spear. Now that I've seen the Hidora Rock. So okay, I think we can conveniently say that both these runners, can be feeling pretty good about a potential kill.
Unfortunately, Mike lost the count to the Archfiend's step, so he had to encounter the Archfiend again.
Yeah.
The enemies, they move in horizontal, vertical, alternating manner. So if you keep count of the enemy movement, you can tell whether the next move would be horizontal or vertical movement and effectively avoid unnecessary encounters.
Yep. There we see Sully's next evolution.
Unfortunately, he lost access to the Perish Punch.
Yep. But he gained access to Battle Anger. Well, not quite yet, but he can technically learn it in his next evolution, which you can take a guess at what that is going to be after we see a Radish Midi Knight and now a Giant.
And on my screen, he's being sandwiched by Krakens.
Yeah.
And this one happened.
Whale.
Yeah, Killer Whale as well.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just pointing out that we can finally see the Kraken sprite.
I think, I'm not sure who it was before, but it has been shown off earlier, I believe. I'm not perfectly sure though, maybe I imagined it.
I only remember seeing the Overworld sprite, not the Battle sprite, but I might be mistaken as well.
Do I have a moment to cut in with a donation?
Sure.
All right. So I have an anonymous $10 donation with a comment looking forward to the complete lack of mischief from the totally innocent child. All right, so sure enough, it's $10 put toward the Help the Totally Innocent Child incentive, leaving us just $90 away. So if you'd like to have us help the Totally Innocent Child, a little bit of help to take this is all that we would need, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, likewise. It's always good to see people donating during these events and seeing how much Lufia 2 alone has brought in with the Halloween sprites and both the Innocent Child and puzzle incentives so far. That is really cool. So I'm really glad people appreciate it and are happy to support the cause. It's always great to have.
And I'll echo that absolutely. There was $380 brought into that sprite bid war. And make no mistake, if the Totally Innocent Child is, if you don't trust the Totally Innocent Child and you'd rather contribute to another target, we do have a couple incentives that are open right now, including the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Randomizer's Ice Trap Mayhem and Curse Crackers Bonus Bonnie Mania Run Showcase. So plenty of options to put your donation toward.
Yep. So the runners would probably be thankful to you. Not to imply that child is at all not worthy of our help, but it's one less side quest that you have to do. So Speedrun is always going to appreciate that. Do you really want to give him the edge, though? I'm not sure. We'll see.
And if you do want to take the opportunity to support Take This after the marathon, they do have a Patreon account at patreon.com/takethisorg, where you can pledge your support on a monthly basis. And you can also buy games at humblebundle.com and choose Take This as your charity of choice to support your purchases. And of course, don't forget the RPG Valkyries merch store.
There is a parish punch from Sully.
We saw the Mike set, whereas Eli seems to be IP farming here. So you can see him tanking a bunch of hits from this Copper Dragon, and you can see the orange bars on the bottom of the screen filling up. So he's now only looking for Artie being hit, which is the second character from the right. On the bottom there, and there is a parish punch against the Copper Dragon.
Hopefully he's not trying to farm IP.
Yeah, I was about to say I think he switched back to Sully 2 in order to kill the dragon potentially, since he just decided to finish it with the regular attacks as well. So I think he was done IP farming.
Okay, so we saw that Mike picked up Berserk Blade from chest. That is the weapon that I mentioned that could be equipped by accident on Decker. It is a cursed weapon, and if you want to remove it from your inventory so you can equip the Decker Blade, you would need to use a curse lifter to remove it. And in the regular speedrun, one would immediately drop the Berserk Blade or feed it to the capsule.
Or pay really, really good attention.
Well, some people do that.
Yeah. With varying success.
I will not speak from experience about that.
Good.
I've been relatively successful at paying attention to Berserk Blade.
Yeah. I'm definitely on the varying success side of things there. So yeah, with Copper Dragons, we're seeing a couple of the normally last type of enemies in the game, which are the metallic dragons. You can see copper and silver here on Eli's side at the same time. Copper dragons, so there's copper, silver, and gold. They have increasing ranges of difficulty. Coppers have 1 attack, silvers have 2 attacks, and golds have 3 attacks per turn. And by attacks, I mean they could either do a devastating AoE spell of like various different kinds, or a physical AoE attack and just regular attack. They're really not enemies to mess around, but the Copper Dragon is the easiest of them to deal with. and so that's usually the one we choose to IP farm. Silver dragons and gold dragons are usually the ones we want to avoid. They drop really good items, but they're quite rare at 2%, so not really worth it. As
They
I
also-
also said,
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that with the item drops from the silver dragon and gold dragon, they can be found in blue chests.
Yeah, that's fair. Which, of course, also has very low chance. Yeah, but they're not as important items that you definitely need them. Oh, and there's Sully's last evolution finally. The almighty Moai Easter Island statue. If you didn't see that coming, then I don't know.
I mean,
Certainly a normal part of evolution.
yeah. As we all know, radishes eventually turn into moai heads, and
Yeah. In this branch of reality, anyway.
right. I mean, think about it. You plant the radish in the ground, and half the moai is buried in the ground, and I'm sure that goes somewhere logical. If there's a biologist in chat, I'm sure they'd be willing to back me up.
Yeah, and if you ignore a lot of, logic in between, it eventually works out. Yep.
No, that is foolproof science, I assure you.
Oh, interesting situation for Mike here. It doesn't quite work out, unfortunately, with the movement there, but he solves it. Oh, it does work out. Never mind. Excuse me. It does work out.
And there is a fatal pick for Mike. You can finally give Archie, the fastest character, an instant death weapon. So he will not have to. He does not have to rely on maximum only.
Yeah. How is Guy doing is being asked in chat. So I think Guy's struggle was happening at floor 50, where he was staring at that puzzle, and he's not known as he's
He's not the brightest
not
one.
exactly
I would say.
a not smart character, but yeah, he's definitely among the his skills lie elsewhere.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way, than solving puzzles. And yeah, his struggle was solving that. We helped out with that, but now our struggle is to clear the cave in order to go back to the town and tell his girlfriend about it. And I mean, hopefully we picked him up on the way so he can get out as well.
Yeah, I think his new struggle now is to leave the cave rather than
Yeah.
solve the puzzle.
He's like, I
Train
didn't think
catch.
this through.
But he did not bring Providence with him. I think he dropped it somewhere.
Plot with Providence was in the puzzle and we took it. Yeah, he was also mummified because the Halloween sprites shot us Eve again. So I'm not exactly sure if he's okay given all the circumstances. But
Love day for him all
I don't
around.
think he can walk well in that outfit.
yeah, his battle sprites suggest otherwise. But of course, we're not going to see that here.
Now I'm picturing him kind of like the a Jiangshi, right? Like the hopping vampire.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I mean, why not?
And he found himself in a very unfortunate dragon treasure room.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
that-
definitely. He's been plagued by a couple of treasure rooms, but the late game dragon and summoner treasure rooms are dangerous for a very specific reason. So these dragons, just like the Hidoras we saw earlier, also Mike in a bit of a dangerous situation, but he cleared it. These dragons are really easy to safely encounter, but of course you need a bit of wiggle room, which Eli does not have here. In addition, there are those Dark Summoners, which are the green cloaked folks teleporting around the room, and I already said that they're teleporting. So yeah, if you get too close to them, they will teleport around you, which will restrict your movement even more. And it doesn't help that if you encounter those Dark Summoners and you do not get a first strike on it, they will have 2 attacks each. They're mostly going to deal some AoE damage kind. So yeah, they're really not enemies you want to encounter. By any means, try to avoid that. So we will see whether Eli will actually have the means to avoid them here, because the treasure room will very quickly force you into encounters you might not want.
And let's keep in mind that the Dark Summoner, they are very fast, not even ulti can outspeed them.
Yep. So if you do encounter them and if you don't get a first strike, you will take damage. Or get instant killed, either one.
I mean, surely nobody will die to perish AoE, right?
Yeah, hopefully. So, we said at the beginning of this run, enemies only move when you move, so you kind of get to have these moments where you can think about what's the best approach. You know, enemies only move every 3 moves. The Dark Summoners move with a couple of different rules, but like, basically you can say, okay, if I take like 3 steps there, what's potentially gonna happen? And once you run this game for a while, and if you're paying a bit of attention to movement, then you can get a pretty good feeling for it. So what Eli did there, those Dark Summoners also have a facing, which means they can be surprise attacked, and he was checking that encounter. He intentionally encountered them with a guaranteed surprise attack, and I'm sure if it had only been 1 Dark Summoner, he would have killed that enemy, which means that encounter sprite would disappear from the map and he wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. Oh, meanwhile, on Mike's side, a lot of exciting stuff happening now. He's encountered a couple of gold dragons in a corner. I believe he spawned there. I didn't see it, unfortunately. But he did have a smoke ball, which is an item that allows you to escape at, well, whatever the character's agility is that's using it. So as long as you have at least 1 character that outspeeds the enemies, which is usually Artie, that character will act first. They can act smoke ball. You get out of battle safely. Of course, you can only do that as many times as you have smoke balls in your inventory.
We're up to floor 91. Just 10 floors left to go. We still have room to make up, but I think we can do this, chat.
Yep. 10 floors until we might discover children in need.
Mike might need to defeat these dragons in order to get to the stairs safely.
Oh, that's good though. Deadly sword comes in handy.
Instant death never fails us, right?
Dragons never killed anyone.
No,
That's very true.
not famously known for.
Yeah. Dragons never killed anyone is true, except for when it's not. But then you'll know. Oh, that's, again, not a very great situation for Eli. He's not in immediate danger here. And I'm sure he knows what he's doing, but it's just not the kind of situation you want to see, because you're just going to be stuck in that corridor for quite some time. And yeah, or you just power through the dragon, of course, if he has the resources to do that. Did I see it correctly? He has 4 Terror Balls and Destroy.
I think I saw 4 Terror Balls.
Wow. So
everyone in his body can somehow do instant death.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive. And he also has to use it, unfortunately. So the game's deciding that he hasn't been giving those powers for no reason. Yep. Time here for runners is pretty good. We're not even at an hour and a half here, at 1 hour 28 minutes. So they'll be sure to reach the final floor in time. They don't have to hurry. In a regular speedrun, you would really not like to see these floors, because you just know you're gonna bleed time basically.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
According to Ellie, he has only 1 Terror Ball and 4 potions. We both mislooked.
Okay. I swear. So far, maybe he has only one terror ball now. I'm just
Yeah, he's been Ellie's been going through those at a pretty good clip.
okay.
I mean, he does have destroy.
0 now. Well, that went downhill really quickly.
Oh.
But yeah, still. There is a couple of options for instant death. We still have Sully 2, which is the capsule that has an instant kill attack that, of course, is random because you can't control it. There is the Fatal Pick on Artie, and there is still the Destroy spell, which 2 out of 4 characters can cast. So, yep.
So what are
This
the odds of
is-
that landing?
They're different for each of the deadlies. The
Mhm.
weapon, aka the deadly sword and fatal pick, they have an 80% chance to kill. Destroy the spell has 50%, just like the terror balls.
There's also
And-
Gloomy. Is it Dog Force? I don't remember,
Yeah.
but it's from the Gloomy Jewel.
That's right. He has a gloom jewel.
That's-
Yeah.
40% chance to kill. Is it really kill an enemy? Each enemy, I mean.
And Parish Punch has 60%, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, the chance of that appearing would have to be calculated into that. So you will definitely see, compared to other RPGs, like I'm thinking of Pokemon, which has like, you're lucky if you get 5% instant kill chance. This game is very generous, and that is definitely what allows these speedruns to be as fast as they can be. And yeah, you're basically, if you got good equipment, you're tearing through the floors.
That is the most generous Dragon Treasure Room I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Also, there's another instant death spell, which is Perish, but it only has a 25% chance to instantly kill an enemy. Also, the chance for instant death for Destroy and Perish will be distributed if you target multiple enemies at once.
Mhm. Yep, that's true for all the spells. So the more enemies you target with spells, the less damage, or as you said, percentage chance for a status you will actually get out of it. True for healing spells as well.
Not true
So
for
floor
buff.
98.
No,
Mhm.
I was gonna say not true for buff or debuff spell, as far as I
Yeah,
know.
that's fair. So we've seen floor 98 for Eli here. Ordinarily, the last floor, once you enter the stairs there, you will see the jelly. So you will see these numbers increasing. We kind of spoiled earlier. I like to see that
Not-
surprise in chat and every single time. That's really good. So yeah, it looks like this is gonna go on for a little bit. Let's see for
Surely
how long.
we will
We
see
spoiled
something.
earlier that that floor 100 might have a little bit of a quest for us, and we're looking out for it. But sadly, that incentive has not been matched so far. Technically, we could just leave it open and see, because these the triggers appear until, is it floor 118, I believe?
I
That's
think,
quite late.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, 118.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave this up to the hosts how you want to run it. But yeah, for now, I'm just...
So help me understand this. So the triggers show up. Would they have to go back to floor 100, or is it just a situation where they could go and help this child at any point throughout the rest of the run?
No, you actually, it is random where the quest trigger will appear.
Oh, then I think let's do this. Let's wait until we see the trigger, and then at that point, I think we cut it off.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, so let's see. I'm very curious. I hope they won't get forced into having to do the side quests, but some
So
last
we
second course
see,
here.
we see another batch of cores in these floors. We decided to add them for some quote-unquote safety XP in case they didn't get cores in the cave.
Mhm. Yep, So in other things, both runners are trying to complete their inventory should they need something else. I don't actually think that they would.
Wait, this isn't Final Fantasy VII. What are we doing with a Buster Sword?
It's one of the named items in the game. This is actually an enemy that we don't ordinarily see. That is not even in the main game. It's called the King Hedorah.
Believe it or not, it is not as deadly as one would think.
Yeah, it is doable, but still. Oh, and there we go. There's a kid.
Let me refresh my screen and see. Did we get there? I'm thinking we might have fallen short, but it might be we might have come. Nope. Unfortunately, it looks like we will not be helping the innocent child.
Well,
that is unfortunate. Well,
the
child will remain in the cave, alone, helpless, crying for help.
But wow, you're not making this any better, Eve.
We just throwing it out there. We weren't able to help the innocent child this time, but that being said, there's still plenty of other great incentives to donate toward. The next run on our schedule, Curse Crackers, for whom the bell toils, has an incentive coming up, which is. Bear with me a moment. The Bonnie Mania Run Showcase, where we are at $50 out of the 125 needed. So between that and then the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Randomizer's Ice Trap Mayhem, we've got those coming up. And then there's one more that I want to shout out that's actually coming up quite soon as well, which is the Liminal Ranger True Ending. That one is at $3.45 out of $150 needed. So there's plenty of great incentives to put your donations toward. And don't forget about the bid wars and the prizes that are available to you. So still plenty of reasons to donate to take this, as well as, of course, helping a really, really wonderful charity.
And even though we didn't see this incentive being met, thanks to everyone who donated for it.
Absolutely.
If you're still curious what that is, I would suggest getting your hands on the ROM hack and seeing for yourself. So, yeah. I think now that we've seen creepy final floor number, now that we've gotten past the usual 99 floors, I can spoil that we're looking at a total of 120 floors. The runners, of course, already know. So it's just a handful of floors to come here. Runners are looking to complete their IP, their equipment setups, and Eli outrunning a last couple of sessions here. Oh.
I think you can talk about some other enemies that you brought back to these floors.
Right, yeah. You will see that some of the enemies here repeat, or, well, actually most of them do. Most of them are very high-level enemies, like the King Hedorah or the Orkies, right? So that's enemies that usually are very strong. You have to pay attention to it. Assassins are from reasonably low floors, but they have instant kill attacks and they're reasonably fast, so that's why they're here. They can actually do a bit of damage, and of course that's something we didn't go into. When a character dies, they lose all their IP, so while you can easily resurrect the character if you have healing spells or items, which you probably will have at this point, especially in a marathon run where you go for a bit of extra safety, should they snipe a random character, you will have to IP farm again for that character. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, they're in here just for a bit of evilness.
Yeah, there's a lot of time that you could stand to lose if that comes up.
Yeah. So in my defense, this ROM hack hasn't been done to punish anyone for playing it, but I will say it has been done for a specific runner who I know is very experienced with the game who can handle these tasks, and it only later has been released for everyone to play. So it really has been designed for fairness in order to be played blind, but by experienced speedrunners, right? So just keep that in mind. I'm not actually trying to screw anyone over here in this drum hack, or we haven't been.
They knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, definitely. These two here, for sure. So, in terms of our race that is still happening, right? We still have a competition going on here. Eli currently finds himself on floor 115, whereas Mike is very close behind the floor 110. Yeah, nothing that a single treasure room couldn't turn around.
I mean, you don't need a treasure room to be blocked from the stairs. Just have a single dragon that refuses to move away from the stairs. Should be enough to slow you down.
Or an enemy or a side quest that will not move away from him, you know?
Perhaps we will see.
Yeah. Maybe we'll still get the side quest, but I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, we were hemmed in by those dragons for a hot minute in that treasure room, so anything's possible.
Oh, here we go. Yep. And there's... Yep. This is, at the end of every single run, this is not particular to this ROM hack. You will see this in the regular cave as well. You're just looking at this end of the cave segment where you're just trying to get to the final boss. Obviously, you're most of the time not going to look into completing your gear at the end of the run, but you'll probably have it like done by then. And you're just trying to go through it, and you're just being blocked by a lot of things as it happens. And of course, you don't want to take casual encounters versus these enemies here either, you know. Still gotta be very careful. You don't want your characters to die because you already farmed IP. So even if you're a gambler, then yeah.
Know when to hold them and know when to fold them, hey?
That's right.
Look, I'm 38. I'm allowed to make oh good heavens, here I am showing my ignorance. Kenny Rogers, is it?
Oh, I know the quote. I'm old enough to know the quote, but young enough to not know who it is by.
Yeah, I realized I wrote a check I couldn't cash there.
Chad has your back in it.
Thank you for helping me embarrass myself slightly less. Oh, Tia goes down.
I would like to point out that I think Mike might have at least a double deadly misses. Or maybe triple, I'm not sure.
So Eli has to go in that very terrible treasure room here that we saw earlier, and an encounter from summoners. As I said earlier, it's not something that you're in. Oh man, that could potentially be not good.
That is not a very good position to be in with the Dark Summoner, especially if he plans to go into the other room. The Dark Summoner has a very good chance to be stuck in there, and he would have to take another encounter to go back into the treasure room. But we'll see, because I did not see the position of the Dark Summoner very clearly.
Yep, same here. I didn't pay attention to it, but yeah, as long as he gets out of this encounter, and he does, that would be the priority, first and foremost, to survive, cut your losses.
Oh yeah, you can, enemies in general, they cannot move into the door or like across the door, so they cannot change room. However, with teleporters, you can sort of manipulate them to move into another room, like what Ellie is doing, or what he just did. He moved 2 of the summoners into the other room, so he would have to deal with less teleporters.
So are these rooms? These rooms are all essentially in the same map, even if you can't see them all at once.
Yes. Each room on a floor is on the same map. Yeah, they're connected as you would imagine. Like, they're logically connected. And Mike, after a very long Dance with a Single Dragon, as Eli mentioned earlier, finally got past that floor. And they're now roughly on the same floor count.
I need to be greeted by a treasure room.
Yep.
We are keeping this one close.
Yep. Both players now in a treasure room. This is actually, you know, in terms of a race, I hope both players take the necessary amount of time. It's a very curious decision by mikemike there.
It was very fortunate that it was just a couple dragons instead of gold or silver.
Yeah.
So in the
Sometimes
vanilla
you have to take a
game,
chance.
in the vanilla game, are these treasure rooms normally this crowded?
Yeah, they're exactly the same, just populated by different enemies.
Got it.
Yep. They have a chance of 6% per floor that a treasure room will appear, which is basically just, well, you can say a portion of a room, basically a screen full of enemies, or a screen full of room filled with enemies. Whereas normally you will have enemies scattered around the floor, just like chests. And we call it a treasure room because chests also will concentrate along this certain portion of a room. So you will see these chests all piled up in a bunch there. And that will only happen at the most once per floor. So you will never see 2 treasure rooms on the floor. Yep, Eli very speedily going towards the end of the cave. So he's at floor 119 now, only looking for, oh, there's
Will
one
we
more
help
kid
as
we could
well?
support, but of course we won't.
Nope.
Yep. Cave speedrunners have very particular priorities. Helping children doesn't appear to be one of them.
Now we can no longer say that Eddie doesn't have Selen in his party. He does
It
have
was a
Selen.
very casual roundhouse kick against every single runner. Yeah, now here we go. Now we're actually on the jelly floor. And yeah, first of all, for those, before we talk about the setup, for those familiar with how the floor looks in the English version and this ROM hack, they've actually been fixed. So yeah, we're actually seeing the original version of this floor. Alright, so Eve, do you want to go into the setup?
Let's see. So we have Decker with the Decker blade. Of course, he would use that weapon to deal half the amount of current HP worth of damage on the jelly. And then we have, I assume that he will go with Zuko Whip and finishing rock on Tia. Oh no, it's just a Gorgon Rock. So a second fractional on Tia, which will do 1/8 of the current HP worth of damage on the jelly. We can see that he equipped Maxim with the Real Blade. So Real Blade functions as the finisher here. It will do double amount of damage on the jelly on one turn with the IP, and Artie with the Water Spear, which is his strongest weapon, and complemented with the Hedora Rock. So the blue chest items, they do not have a standalone IP to be used on the jelly as a finisher, so they will need one of the finishing rocks or finisher rocks to be used at the jelly. They just supply the amount of ATP.
Yep.
Also, Maxim has the Circle Shield, so he will use that to boost everyone's ATP by 40%. And Artie with Zap, as Zap is the strongest bow, and only Artie can use it.
Yep. And characters and have been arranged into particular rows because the front row deals more damage than the back row. We'll see all the damage kicking in now, whereas mikemike also just reached for 120, also preparing for the jelly kill. So I'm not doing a calculator, and for time constraint reasons, I will very quickly try to summarize what mikemike has, but it also looks like he's going to go with one fractional, 2 finishers actually. I'm seeing that correctly. Or 1 fractional, 3 finishers even. We will have to see. Yep. So as I said, 3 turns to deal 9,980 damage.
We will see the jelly surprise shortly.
There's the critical hit, guaranteed critical. I don't even know what turn we're in.
This is the
'Cause I looked
last
at my
turn,
place.
as in the
Okay.
third turn on the jelly.
Mhm.
And that is the surprise on the jelly. On the
Yep.
on the third turn, it will heal itself using champion for 1001 HP. So essentially, you are fighting your jelly with about 11,000 HP instead of 10,000.
Yep.
Oh, this is gonna be
So
close.
it's definitely going to be very close. He does
And
get the
GG.
kill though. Very nice. GG.
Very nice.
Yep.
Now let's see. Mike's just starting his jelly fight.
All right. So win is time.
Time is already for Eli. That was a 149.20 something.
Here's your $50.
Yeah, he will actually not get $50. As I said, it was for a different marathon. Sorry, Eli. Fake
Wait,
news.
hold on.
It seems to be that the Fatal Blow or the Deca Blade IP on Mike's screen is doing above average damage.
So we did in fact get a $50 donation from Decker BRD that says, "I like turtles."
Nice. Shoutouts to Decker. That is very good timing. Yep.
Thanks for the $50. And
Oh,
don't
Blaze
forget,
Tech
folks,
too.
when you're putting your donations in, please do put them toward an incentive. There's plenty of good ones out there.
Yep, and Mike, while Eli explores the rest of the town, Mike is finishing here on the last turn. Also, Jelly heals here, and a little evilness, of course, attached to the Jelly healing itself on the third turn is not just do you effectively have to deal 11,000 damage, but your fractionals, which deal a certain percentage of the total HP that you want to use in your first turn, will actually not be percentages of 11,000, but still of 10,000, right? So, yeah. You're getting
And he got
a
it.
little bit of a drawback
GG.
there, but yeah, Mike also killed the Jelly. GG.
All right. That
Very nice.
is the fade out, and it looks like that's time.
Exactly. Very nice run here from both runners. I'm very glad that both could finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Both
nice.
runners.
It was a really excellent pair of runs. Awfully close. We were about a minute apart?
Yeah, I think so. That was very nice. I guess those last-minute treasure rooms and enemy blocks did actually decide this race, but yeah, that's what happens. Very nice. Very good showcase here from both runners, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It was a really fun run. Do we have any last-minute shout-outs or anything you wanna introduce?
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna leave that to the runners.
Ellie, Mike?
Yeah, I'd like to add that once you're hooked on the ancient cave, you're stuck in this city for a long time. That was a good run. Mike was close all the way through, and that little cheater, I'm gonna get him next time he decides to sneak up and just dive right into the puzzle without giving me any sort of head notice. I was just waiting to see if you were making it so that way, like you were looking at the donation chart. I was kind of waiting for your results there, so I decided to feed, and then Mike just says, "Nope, I'm going."
But hey, you beat the puzzle before I did.
Yeah, no, that was irritated. I had to just jump into it. But no, there were some pretty scary floors there. Lake Cave was surprisingly merciful. There were some scary party rooms for both of us, and things were relatively expertly handled, I would say, in the majority of cases for both Mike and I. So there's a lot to learn, and the Guys Struggle ROM hack offers a lot of additional features to add some neat replayability and also variety to your average Ancient Cave run. So if you've played the Ancient Cave yourself and you're in chat and you're saying, "Man, I'm tired of it, I've done it a zillion times," seriously consider giving this a shot. And you can find all of this in our Discord, which Real Critical does a great job of filling with resources, such as Eve's sprite work, which is a shame you didn't get to see the other sprites, but I hope you got to enjoy what we saw today. And there were just so many great things to show off, so thank you for handling the commentary, Real Critical and Eve. Guys on the couch side, thank you for doing all of your hard work to benefit Nami, and thank you, Mike, for giving me yet another fun challenge. 2 dads, 1 cave, a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for all the comms and for the event. That was really fun. Before the run started, I was trying to practice that puzzle and I just couldn't get it. I was failing it over and over, and they're like, "Hey, we gotta go." So we started, and I got there, and Ellie was ahead of me, and the incentive wasn't hit. So I thought, okay, I'm behind, and I don't know how to do it. So, but fortunately, it all came back to me instantly when it needed to most. And we had a close fun race with 2 jelly kills, which is kind of difficult. So great job, everyone.
Yeah, so that's the great thing about this ROM hack too, is it adds a few extra floors to give you a little extra cushion for EXP. It gives you the puzzle, the Klotsky puzzle, which gives you the free Decker Blade and the other tools, which you saw Mike and I both use very, very liberally. The Decker Blade and Zerko Shield played a big part on both of what we did, and the free Curse Lifter and Samu Jewel were a little extra spice on the safety seasoning that we could use. So if you yourself feel like going through the cave itself and you really want to get that jelly kill, the Guys Struggle ROM hack really can afford you the tools to do that. Some of the enemies are a little more scary, yes, but the tools for security on the jelly kill are something that cannot be passed up, and it's one of the reasons why this is a really, really enjoyable ROM hack to play.
Yeah, nice. I guess my end of the run 2 cents are that I'm very happily taking these kind words here towards the ROM hack that Eve and I worked on. And I also want to mention that it's a community effort. It's built on resources done by a lot of people over the time. And yeah, there's always a lot more people than you see that worked not knowing that they worked on a project like this. And I'm actually not that good of a ROM hacker, so it took me a lot of time to do this. But I'm glad it came out to be something that people enjoy, and I hope everyone enjoyed watching it. And definitely thanks to the Valkyries for having us.
Thank you very much.
All right, folks. We'll be right back here shortly with some Curse Crackers for whom the bell tolls. Don't go away.